that corporations are pulling out, but it's an interesting time to think about. Wait, who are we? Who are we as gay, lesbian, trans people, and who's really benefiting from our identity? And let's maybe bring it back to the community a little bit and look out for each other in a more grounded way, I suppose.
Did you think of it then? Because, I mean, you're there, you're working with a TV network, creating their brand Bible. Did you think of it as progress when this network you were working with and other corporations were starting to say, how do we, commodify gay desire? Because I think there were a lot of people, they were thinking, okay, if Fortune 500s, if Fortune 1000s are paying attention to us and they want to see us as, consumers, that must mean progress. And now we're kind of looking back at that and going, maybe not so much. And so for you at the time, though, did you see it as progress?
Oh, God, I was trying my best to become part of that progress. I wanted so badly to be like a queer eye for the straight guy person. I'm just too awkward to have some of my best friends are celebrities who are, killing it in that world. And I don't want to denigrate their talent or their magnetism. It's just, I'm just not, and identity is weird, especially identity when it becomes a corporate attraction, And I'm really not trying to say, I'm not trying to be argumentative about it. I just think it's something to think about. And especially when it comes to your own emotions and your own inner life. Where is that inner life and where is this outer representation that is supposed to be making people money? Where do they exist with each other?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I am talking with Mike Albo, whose new audiobook, Hologram Boyfriends, came out just this week. You read it, you perform your book, and but it's not just like you sitting in front of a microphone. There's design happening. There's audio design. There's sound clips and all of that happening in there. Walk me through that process of a very you've been unpacking for us the different sections, the different chapters of this book. Talk to me then through the process of designing an audiobook. How does that work?
Yeah, it's a new field for me, at least. This idea of an audio original. And I worked with the incredible studio team at Macmillan, and we decided to put in special effects, just light special effects. It's not like boing. It's not like these crazy sounds all over the place. So there are just these little touches here and there to kind of give it some environment. And then there's also some live performance. Since I'm a performer, we put in some live performance as well. So it kind of goes back and forth between studio and live. But I do have to say, those people who read audiobooks are talents, man. That is hard work. I learned so much about you. I mean, the talent to be on a radio to announce and do all that stuff it's not easy. And I had a vocal coach, I had an acting coach, I had a voiceover coach before I did it. I learned so much about how to speak into a microphone, which is a different thing than being on a stage because it picks up every little bit of your sound, including your stomach rumbles when you're hungry. So I had to put a pillow over my stomach. Sometimes if we were late in the day, I'd be like, grumble. I'd be like, oh, shit. So I have to cover myself. I learned so much. It was such a fun experience, and it's really hard. It takes a lot of work.
Well, folks, you're going to enjoy it. It is a treat. The audiobook is Hologram Boyfriends. We have links in our show notes and on our website for you to get your copy to download it to whatever audiobook player that you use. You can connect with Mike at mikealbo.net. That's ALBO.net. Thank you so much, Mike, for joining me today. This has been a real pleasure.
Oh, thanks. Me too. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening and or watching today on YouTube. If you like what we're doing, click subscribe, click the like button. Oh, now I feel like I'm doing the thing that you were talking about, Mike. the content creation. Anyway, you can keep the gay going on all weekend long. On Saturday afternoon is Pride on AM 950. You can catch up with the best of The Gaily Show at 2 p.m., Twin Cities Pride Amplified at 3 p.m., The Legal Trans Woman at 4 p.m., and The Downright Upright Show with Philip Anthony at 5 p.m. Then on Sunday at 11 a.m. on WCPT 820, tune in for Out Chicago. It's Sunday brunch with your gay best friends, Ellen Miller and Scott Duff. And until this time on Monday, keep it queer, America.
Teachers are dynamic leaders shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
Every day, we go about our lives driven by routine, our vision clouded by the very normalcy we take for granted. Countless victims of human trafficking walk among us, invisible. It's time to open our eyes. The Blue Campaign provides a unified voice for those who combat human trafficking, whether it's forced labor, domestic servitude, or the sex trade. Learn what you can do to help by visiting dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
Hi, I'm Marcel Spears. Keeping our global neighborhood safe is a tough job, made easier by America's brave military dogs. These dogs keep our troops safe by sniffing out bombs and IEDs and locating enemy positions. Yet when these canine heroes retire, they're too often left overseas. American Humane works to bring these valiant dogs home and reunites them with their handlers for happy, healthy retirements. To learn how you can help, visit AmericanHumane.org.
You want to feel important.
You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things.
You want to feel like you belong.
We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it.
We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers.
We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more.
When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it.
We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors.
From the lakeshores of Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota,
the fertile fields of Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa, to the wide open plains of North and South Dakota.
We are here for our hometowns.
And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Illinois Army National Guard, aired by the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tune into the Thom Hartmann radio program, your home for news, opinion, and insight, right here on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. The United Nations Human Rights Chief says the U.S. military strikes against boats in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific Ocean are unacceptable and must stop. The boats were allegedly carrying illegal drugs from South America. President Trump has justified the attacks as a necessary escalation to stem the flow of drugs into the U.S., but the campaign against drug cartels has been divisive among countries in the region. And AP correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports King Charles III has stripped his disgraced brother Prince Andrew of his remaining titles and evicted him from his royal residence.
Amid mounting pressure to address his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, the decision aims to protect the monarchy from public disapproval. Andrew, now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, will move from the Royal Lodge to a more remote home on the King's Sandringham estate. Meanwhile, the family of Virginia Roberts Giuffre has praised the British King's decisions, declaring victory on behalf of Andrew's accuser, who died by suicide in April at the age of 41. Julian Payne, a former communications secretary to the King and Queen, says as the scandal around Andrew grew and grew, the royal family had decided that a tipping point had been reached. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The government shutdown is entering its 31st day. Trump is calling on the Senate to scrap the filibuster. The filibuster is a long-standing tactic in the Senate to delay or block votes on legislation by keeping the debate running. This move would let Republicans bypass Democrats and reopen the government. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration says drug makers have recalled more than 500,000 bottles of the blood pressure medication prazosin hydrochloride over concerns that it may include a cancer-causing chemical. This is AP News. Military leaders have ordered the National Guard to create quick reaction forces trained in civil unrest.
A set of memos circulated this month directs National Guard units in all 50 states and U.S. territories to train a contingent of soldiers to deal with civil disturbances and riots, and to have them ready to deploy with just hours' notice. The specialized course includes the proper use of batons, body shields, stun guns, and pepper spray. The memos specify various numbers for each state's force, often 500 each. In all, they total more than 23,000 troops. In August, President Trump signed an executive order directing the Pentagon to create quick reaction forces that will be available for rapid nationwide deployment. All part of his vision of a muscular role for the military in his crackdown on illegal immigration and crime.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see mostly sunny skies here for today with a high into the mid-50s. Winds out of the northwest around 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. And then for tonight, a slight chance for rain, cloudy, a low near 38. By Saturday, a chance for rain showers, cloudy, high 50 degrees. And Sunday, mostly sunny skies, we'll see a high around 53. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 42.
Stock up with big fall savings at Menards. Winterize with RV and Marine antifreeze and automotive antifreeze on sale now. Save big on an 8-pack of 100-watt or 12-pack of 60-watt LED light bulbs. Protect your home and family with great sale prices on select security lights and smoke alarms. Plus, stay warm with a fantastic selection of space heaters on sale. Check out Menards' weekly flyer for all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Friday morning, progressives, and welcome to the October 31st, 2025 edition of Choose Views. Henry and I are in here yucking it up. Chins up and shoulders back, progressives. It is time to fight. 773-763-9278. Find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, heartlandsignal.com, and YouTube. And you can email me at richard@wcpt820.com. Send me the emails, you guys. I love getting them. Follow me on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads, and Substack. And catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. There you can get Choose Views, featured interviews, the short versions and the long versions. Also, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive. Joan's a legend, y'all. You know that. Driving It Home with Miss Patty Vasquez. Whether it's the hoopty or something else, she'll be there to get you through the evening. Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath. It's the weekend, so that's always cool. And Out Chicago and all of our other shows and interviews that you want to check out. Make your way over to heartlandsignal.com. We are running hard and fast this morning, so make your way over to Heartland Signal. A number of great clips that are there, from Governor Pritzker to Pennsylvania State Rep and DNC chairperson, or Vice Chair Malcolm Kenyatta. So just make your way over there, because we got a lot to cover today, so I've got to keep moving it on. On today's show, starting in a very short period of time, our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics Podcast will be with us at 6:15. This is how busy we are today. In the 6:30 hour, we will have from Ladies of Virtue, talking about leadership for young women. Jamila Trimuel will be with us. In the 7 o'clock hour, comedian and activist Dana Goldberg will be with us. In the 7:30 hour, author and historian Michelle Duster will be with us. It is Ladies' Day, y'all. Henry and I are sitting in the catbird seat, just like happy and humbled by the fact that we've got these strong women on our show today. It couldn't be a better blessing. So brace yourselves, because we're going to be all over the map with some craziness and some criticism and some zingers and some conversation around leadership, which I'm really, really looking forward to. But right now, talking about leadership, check this out, progressives.
Because I promise you, once you sit at these tables, at these fancy places, with folks with fancy titles, and they got a big bank account, and you talk to them, and you go, oh, yeah, they ain't all that. Yeah. Right? Yes, sir. This idea that somehow they are so special, they're so smart, they're so sophisticated, not really. They've been exposed. They've been given the confidence of feeling like they belong. But if you sit down and talk to them, turns out they just folk.
That was obviously former President Barack Obama. He was on the Pivot and all the smoke podcast. And this goes back a few months, but I wanted to play it today for a couple of reasons. We are going to be talking about leadership. We're going to be talking about ladies that have been great leaders. And oftentimes women walk into a room and it's a bunch of dudes in there, and suddenly the guys are trying to make the ladies feel less than. But the four ladies that we have with us today have stood up to that time and time again. But I also want to give you guys this right out of the gate, and we may play it at the end of the show one more time. We cannot, I'm going to put positive words on this. We have to be strong right now, guys. Let me tell you why. Because like President Obama said, many of these folks that you engage with, whether it be at work, whether it be socially, whether it be in some sporting event you're involved in, whether it be in this political hotbed that we're on right now, they aren't all that. To use President Obama's words, they're not all that. They've been privileged to be in the right rooms at the right times in many cases. I myself have been in those situations where, I'm in a room full of, or in an environment full of folk who don't look like me, but one would be led to believe that they think, and I know by body language and by conversation and by questions that I get asked, Henry, how did you get here? Where'd you go to school? What do you do for a living? And the ladies definitely know what the hell I'm talking about. The ladies definitely know, which is why I'm honored to have 4 strong women back to back today. So my point of all this, guys, is guys and gals, and I'm saying this to those of us as progressive liberal Democrats. So this is the political piece of this. Walk into those rooms and own the damn room. When you walk in with your head up and your shoulders back. Walk into that room like you own the damn place. And that might be walking into a family event. I planned this for a reason. Holiday season starts today. For the next 75 days, we're going to be thrust among friends and family, business associates, and all the rest. And we're a year we're a year forward from last year's election starting next week. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be peacocking around. Yeah, we won. We got you. We own the libs and all this garbage. I want you guys to walk in the damn room like you own it. Men and women, LGBTQ community, I don't care what community you're from. We as progressive liberal Democrats, we owe it to ourselves. And as Michelle Duster will say, we owe it to our ancestors particularly. All of us do. To walk into these places right now with our heads held high, our shoulders held back firmly, and leaning into taking back all that we deserve to take back. And I want everybody to be inspired by that. I want everybody to recognize your power. They ain't all that. They really aren't. They've been in environments that gives them the illusion that they're all that. But I'm telling you, they're not. And be prepared to bring it every single day. My sister my sister Linda, my big sister Linda, in the signature of her email, she says in that, Henry, never leave. You know how the old American Express, never leave home without it commercial. Was it American Express? I think it was. My sister changed that up a little bit to say, never leave home without your A game. So kudos to my great sister, Linda Harris. I want y'all to start leaving the house with your A game. When you walk into the room, when you walk into work, and you may have had a tough commute in and all those things, but take 90 seconds before you walk in and get your head right and walk into the office, walk into whatever place it is, and own the space that you're in. Make people respect you. I promise you, for those that are listening today that are on your way to work or whatever, if you try that, you'll be shocked. Let's take a quick, tiny break, Henry. We're going to come back and we'll get with our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics Podcast. I'm Richard Chu. You're listening to Chu's Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation.
Call 800-838-8614. 800-838-8614. That's 800-838-8614.
Paid for by Airtime Media.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
You're listening to Chu's Views with Richard Chu.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to the show. Let's get right to it, y'all. Let's bring on our good friend, Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics Podcast. Good morning, Karen. What is going on?
Yeah, good morning, Richard. How are you? What is going on?
As President Obama used to say and still does, fired up and ready to go. Fired up and ready to go. Hey, Karen, I got to ask you a question. When was the last time you went to an event, a realtor event, a social event, a fundraiser, any of those things, and you just wandered around the room and had to have the guests stop you from meandering where you shouldn't go? And y'all know what I'm talking about. Karen, I want to get your take on Trump and Japan.
It was so bizarre. It was just so bizarre. And I don't know if you saw Jimmy Kimmel's covering. It was hilarious. If you're out there and you have not seen it yet, you have to check it out because it was it's stunning, Richard. It's just stunning that we are in this time and having to be embarrassed all over the world. And then, and as much as I look at that, and it's humiliating to watch that. But what's even worse is the fact that this weekend, 43 million, roughly, Americans are going to be thrown off of their SNAP benefits. Yep. And far more are going to have their insurance premiums go up. And it is stunning, the moment that we're in, and it's overwhelming, quite frankly. And you follow all of this so closely. I have honestly made deliberate attempts to just kind of back away at parts of, my day because it really is. It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's, it's good to laugh at him. It is always good to laugh at him because it drives him crazy. So to that end, I am very grateful to the comedians that are giving us a little bit of a reprieve from having that knot in our stomachs.
We have to do that, Karen.
We have to.
I mean, and I know. First of all, let me back up a couple of steps in case you guys didn't catch this. I mean, you do. What I'm trying to say. Karen just said sometimes you just got to, shelter yourself from it. you have to put some guardrails on all this because it can be overwhelming. And particularly when you juxtapose this idiot walking around, rambling around. Now, listen, I'm saying it this way because he gets all the smoke, not to take away from the podcast, but he gets the smoke on this because he talks about how wonderful and great and blah, blah, blah he is. He's meandering around looking like a doggone fool on the world stage. And you're right. We have folks who tomorrow are going to have their worlds collapse on them. Meanwhile, his Nepo baby children are being able to take advantage of all the largesse of this country. So it's hard it's hard to watch that and to actually think in our best of minds that 78 million people decided that they wanted that. And now I would love to know, and you and I've talked about this, what percentage of the people that voted for him are going to have their worlds collapse on them tomorrow and over the next week's time because of this idiot's who he is. You know what I mean? So it's tough.
Yeah, well, it's going to impact his voters probably more than anybody, honestly. And you talked about walking in and having to into a space during the holiday season and perhaps having to be around some of these people that voted for him. I don't think they're going to be puffing their chests up so much. There's going to be, I think that there is going to be a lot of hurt going around this holiday season.
Which we don't want for anybody. I mean,
we don't, but we tried to warn you. Kamala warned everybody. Yeah. I mean, this is exactly where we were warned that we were going to be by the Democratic candidate last year.
Karen,
and by,
you and I've said this. We talked about it with last spring and summer. You guys remember Karen and I spent spent part of every segment on Friday talking about Project 2025. Henry's nodding his head like, yep, y'all sure did. We spent every Friday letting folks know and help wanting people to spread the word. And other folks finally caught on, et cetera, et cetera. We know the story. But so we didn't try. We told people this is what's going to happen. Kamala Harris did the same thing. I don't care what book comes out by her or anybody else or what news report or what interview. At the end of the day, people should not have needed her to be perfect to say, I'm going to vote for her. They should have been able to say, I am going to vote against this over here. And say at the same time, I'm voting for this over here. And not needing her to have 214 days to get it right or to go on to any of the other shows and all the other things that people said she should have done, even herself, where she regrets not having gone on Rogan's show. Even with all of that, it was still, for a reasonably thinking person, should have been able to go, I don't want that over there. I want this over here. It's kind of like, Karen, check it out. You can appreciate this. It's kind of like a food allergy. You know you should not eat X, Y, and Z because the 3 doctors told you. You went to 3 different doctors because you didn't believe the first one. You went to another one. All 3 said, Karen, you got a food allergy, girl. You need to stay away from, broccoli.
And you went and ate all the shrimp? Is that what you're saying?
You need to stay away from the shrimp because the shrimp you're gonna see, you made you laugh. You need to stay away from it.
Some problems.
But you said no, that shrimp is looking really mighty good, and that cocktail sauce has got horseradish. And then you woke up in the emergency room like Will Smith did in Hitch because you had a food allergy, and you knew you did.
No joke.
So you could have picked. You could have picked something else. You could have picked the boring carrots but you chose. I'm gonna pick this over here.
No,
that's what this is like. You went for the shrimp, knowing you got a food allergy. So
that's right.
It's hard to see. It is because we're people with a heart and a sense of caring. And I know you particularly being that way, and that's why you've had to protect some of your energy. And I applaud you for being willing to say that publicly. That as hard as you fight, the protests that you've gone to, all the things that you've done, you still need to put the brakes on it and get your head right. And I think that's good medicine for all of us. So kudos to you on that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I think, we're all feeling it. And, the thing of it is too, Richard, is there's, a lot of people that we're talking about that are going to be hurt. But, eventually, the longer this goes on, we're all impacted. I don't care what your income level is. We are all going to be feeling the pain. And because of, the tariffs, because of, the health care going away, SNAP benefits going away. Everything that happens to one happens to all. And that is the part that I think that hopefully some of these people that thought, oh, well, they're just going to go after those people, they're just going to do this to those people. They start waking up to the reality that what happens to one of us happens to all of us. And eventually it is going to roll, and it's going to roll into you and take you down too. Yeah. So, and I don't, I am the type of person that I don't have to get to that point before it starts to affect me, for me to care or pay attention. And right. I know you're the same way. This audience that listens to the great station WCPT, we are all on that same boat, right? We don't want people to get hurt. And it doesn't have to, get to us before we start caring.
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but that, unfortunately, there's a hard 30% of this country. And I will never say, this really bothers me, the media narrative too, Richard. Let me just say this, that 50%, because it really does, it gets baked in to the consciousness of the country, that 50% of us are okay with this. It's not 50% of us. And I think we have to remind ourselves of that. There's a hard 30% of us that feel that way. It was the same percentage that Hitler had. It's the same percentage that Donald Trump never dropped below as far as his approval rating, right? Yep. But that is not the majority of us. And we have got to remember that. And because of our numbers, that gives us our power. If only people just do something, anything, just pick something. Yeah. Pick, get out of your comfort zone sometimes, if but do what you feel comfortable doing. But don't just sit by and wring your hands and do nothing. Everybody needs to get into this fight in one way or another. Maybe you don't feel comfortable going to the Broadview, Illinois ICE detention facility and protesting there, but get to a No Kings March. Maybe you don't feel comfortable going in the big crowd of the No Kings March. Go over and join our good friend Walter at every Saturday, 10 to 11:30 at 7500 West Roosevelt Road.
Yep.
Call your representatives. Participate. Write postcards. I just got finished writing 200 postcards to voters. So, we all have to get in this fight in one way or another and encourage others to come along with us.
And you don't have to, this is the thing too, to take Karen's point and kind of amplify it even more. I want people to feel encouraged to reach out to people and build consensus and work with folks, because that's where the strength is. I've said this so many times, and we know we're going to have to keep saying it. But we have to let people know the importance of connecting with folks is going to do something really important, and that is allow you to realize you're not on an island. And that's so critically important right now, because that is part of this game plan, is to try to get people to feel like they're on an island, that there's nobody else there that cares. And you walk around the island and you don't see anybody. Well, no, there's a lot of people, millions, in fact. So if it's not through going to an event physically, then the other things are so maybe your deal, but be involved, do something. Don't sit back and just complain. And we're not picking on anybody. Let me be clear about that. But you got to. Somebody, I'm trying to remember who it was earlier in the week that I got a text from someone that said if you're not going to be involved, then you should shush and go to the back of the room. Well, if you're gonna, we'd rather you show up and be vocal and be powerful than to not be involved at all. So There you go.
Yeah. No, I agree. This is not a time to be, silent. This is not a time to, sit back and do nothing. We have to do. Everybody has to play a part.
And if you don't know, ask somebody. Is the phrase?
Ask somebody.
Ask somebody.
Yeah. There's a lot of organizing, by the way, going on around. Getting groceries to families who are afraid to leave their homes. I've been at the Broadview facility, and in the early days before they put that fence up, I was able to meet and talk to a lot of the family members that were walking up looking for their loved ones who were taken. And I'm just going to put this out here, but I did start a GoFundMe for one of the families.
Good for you.
Because what these guys are doing is they're going after the heads of households, which then means that they're going to kill the entire family unit in the process.
Maybe we should go after the head of household of a particular household. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, it's really, though, it's deadly serious. People have empty refrigerators. They're not able to make their rent payments. So there are some, and it's all of this in the middle of a bigger crisis, right? A larger crisis, even, with, again, like
shut down.
Shut down 20, and this moron is meandering around Japan doing his double handy J dance for the troops on day 28 of a government shutdown where federal employees are not. They're already stretched because he got rid of 200,000 government jobs through Doge and everything, even before that, and then. Now, these very same people that were able to stay, they're not getting a paycheck. So, I mean, I realize, saying that I started a GoFundMe, but if it makes, it's doing something. And I think that if everybody can just pick something to do to help yourself feel at least that you're making a difference, and hopefully it does make a difference, but to do something.
I talked to had Miles Taylor on yesterday, and he said that very thing, that everybody has to be involved as much as you may, and it may be frightening or scary or intimidating. If you believe in this thing, then you got to walk in that room like you own it. You got to walk into that thing like you own it. Karen,
that's right.
I appreciate having you on and contributing, and hopefully you got a few things out without me talking over you, but
no. Yeah.
I wanted to make you laugh a little bit. I knew you needed to laugh in terms of talking about the dude that meanders around the room.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
what an embarrassment. Anyway, well, thank you as always for having me on, and
TruBlu Politics.
Happy.
Sorry.
Yes, TruBlu Politics podcast. Happy Halloween, everybody. Stay safe out there and get involved. Do something.
All right, Karen, have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, you too.
Henry,
Bye-bye.
let's go to a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
This is a WCPT Moment in Labor. In 2011, 6 Jimmy John's employees in Minneapolis were fired by their franchise-owning company, Mickey Lynn Enterprises, after fighting for paid sick days. This is a common theme in the union-free world of fast food. Over 13 million Americans work in the fast food industry, making an average of $13,500 a year, not even half the average cost of living. 80% of fast food workers have experienced work-related injuries, and only 13% were covered by their employer. A group of employees referred to as the Jimmy John Six fought for these rights, creating an online campaign, posting a picture of 2 sandwiches saying one of these was made by a healthy employee, the other was made by a sick employee. Can you tell the difference? Too bad, as Jimmy John's workers do not get paid sick days. Help workers win sick days. More than 32 million Americans work a job that does not offer paid sick days. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We're working for your rights.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see mostly sunny skies here for today with a high into the mid-50s. Winds out of the northwest around 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. And then for tonight, a slight chance for rain, cloudy, a low near 38. By Saturday, a chance for rain showers, cloudy, high 50 degrees. And Sunday, mostly sunny skies, we'll see a high around 53. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 43.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
This is Chew's Views with Richard Chew.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to the show. I am glad to be with you on this Friday. It was great to have Karen with us a moment ago. Today is a day of leading ladies, leadership in one way or the other, in whatever space they occupy. Karen has been that way with her podcast and her protest and showing up. She shows up, y'all. And we're proud to have her as part of the show. As Chicago continues to lead national conversations about equity and leadership, Jamila Trimuel is the founder and CEO of Ladies of Virtue and is celebrating a major milestone, 14 years of empowering Black girls to become confident, purpose-driven leaders. And I'm honored to have the founder and CEO of Ladies of Virtue with me this morning on Chew's Views. Good morning, Jamila, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I want to break it down and have some fun. How you doing, girl?
I'm tired. No, this is 6:30 in the morning.
No, it's not. It's 7:30 or 8:30 somewhere else on the planet right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I'm teasing, but
Good.
I am doing well. I have a son, and my husband's doing well, and I really am feeling for the girls and the parents in my community as they are going through turmoil with just some of the issues that are going on in today's society. But overall, I'm doing good and optimistic that we will get through.
Absolutely, we will. I say at the beginning of every show, chins up and shoulders back, it's time to fight. And, that's an ongoing thing. And my guest that was just on a moment ago, Karen Byrne, talked about we have to stay in the fight. It's tiring. We have to catch our breath and get a little bit of rest. But we all didn't expect to be here at this point, but we are. And so we have to fight through this. The other side of it is where all the joy and the glory is. So we have to just keep pushing in that direction. Don't you agree?
I totally agree.
Yeah. So let's talk about Ladies of Virtue. I mean, you guys been making it happen with you at the leading helm of this for 14 years, and you've got this great event coming up. So let's let everybody know about it and chat that up a little bit.
Absolutely. So to share more about my organization that I founded 14 years ago, Ladies of Virtue, we are all about empowering our girls to become confident and purpose-driven leaders. We serve girls ages 9 to 18 and continue to mentor and support them up until the age of 24. And one unique aspect of Ladies of Virtue is that we incorporate mental health in everything that we do, which is so important even during these times. And to best support our girls and families, we have an annual fundraiser, which is coming up, as you mentioned, Leading with Virtue Cocktail Reception, which is next week on November 6th, Thursday, November 6th, from 6 to 9 at Venue West, where we're not only celebrating 14 years of service to the community, but also we are honoring 6 women and one incredible organization that has given back to the city of Chicago.
That's fantastic. I mean, one of the things that for me has always been important is, and I know this is true for you, empowering others is something that it's the gift that we can give that sometimes is more valuable than money. And it's giving people the sense that not only is it going to be okay, but it's going to get better. And how we oftentimes have to do that is kind of, the phrase gets used a lot, leading by example. And sometimes some of the most basic way of leading by example is just empowering people, helping them feel that not just think about it, but know inside of them that their life is going to get better. And it's one of my missions in life is to always, even on my worst of days, Jamila, is to try to find a way to share some good news. I say oftentimes, smile at a stranger today and speak your power. And you've done a marvelous job of that with Ladies of Virtue, and you've done it by example. And I think it's just really cool that, you're going to be, celebrating this and having a number of people come together, both professionals, civic, and leaders of organizations, change makers, to celebrate what you have in common, and that's mentorship and leadership. So I'm so excited for what you guys have accomplished and what you're going to be doing. Let me ask you this question from a leadership standpoint. There's probably a number of people, but who are some of the folks that come to mind quickly when you go, these were the people that helped set me on my path toward leadership and mentorship? Who comes to mind, whoever it might be in your life?
Yeah, no, thank you for this question. I am a product of two entrepreneurs, and so I grew up actually thinking I was not going to become one because I saw how much my parents worked, right? But when I got older, I realized that, it's the passion and the purpose that they had to give back to the community, which is why they poured their heart and soul into what they did. And so I have to shout out my dad, who used to always say, you're an African girl. You can do anything you put your mind to. He said that from the time I was born to going to sleep to taking me to school. And so it just really stuck with me, so much so that I took my own parents for granted because I thought all my friends had parents who were pouring into them and saying these positive words. But when I turned about a junior in high school, I realized that simply was not the case. I had friends whose fathers were killed through gun violence and so forth. And so that's why I decided to stand in the gap and become a mentor myself. My mom, she, as I mentioned, was an entrepreneur. One thing I learned from her is to be steadfast. She's had her business for 44 years now. Never went out, never had any issues or concerns with her business. And she's been steadfast throughout this entire 44 years. And so when I look at business ownership and home ownership, I definitely see that in my mom. My grandmother, she just passed at 93 years old.
Wow.
But one thing about her, she was a woman of God, and she knew she would, if she had cancer, and if the doctors told her to go one way, she would go to the Lord, and the Lord would say, no, you're going to do it this way. And she would go do it exactly what she heard from the Lord, and would baffle the doctors. She had a heart condition. The doctors wanted her to get surgery. She said no, and lived with that for over 50 years. But the point that I learned from my grandmother is to really know who your source is and to follow the voice of the Lord. And so I have some very positive role models in my life. So thank you for asking.
Well, yeah, that's another way, I believe, and I'm just going to say this based on my experience, and I think you may be a little bit in concert with me. The people who we want to lead and who we want to provide mentorship and energy to and all that, oftentimes they don't realize that we are folks that stand on the shoulders of somebody else. And so I think that when we pay homage to the people that we stand on their shoulders and have been there, they've supported us, it really does flow through well to talk to a younger person to say, see, I didn't get here by myself. I'm standing on the shoulders of somebody else, and I want you to know that that's how I got here. I think then that mentorship becomes a little bit easier when we can share with someone that we're trying to help that we were mentored as well. We had people that supported us as well. We didn't get here by ourselves. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes. And that's exactly why I created Ladies of Virtue, because there's so many girls, especially during my volunteer journey when I was mentoring at different organizations. That was the piece that was missing for me, is that I saw how not a lot of girls had those mentors or those positive role models, whether it was a parent, a teacher, or a mentor to lead and guide and provide the resources that were needed for girls, specifically Black girls, to succeed. And that's why I started Ladies of Virtue, to stand in that gap, right? Because that's so very important. So I'm glad you highlighted that.
Yeah, I try to make certain too, and I think what happens too, Jamila, is as we get older, whatever that's defined as being in terms of whatever age we are, we keep recognizing more and more the people who were our mentors that may not be with us any longer, or they may still be with us, but we want to be a connection between that which was and that what's going to be. And that's one of the things that you've done so extraordinarily well. You've got a really high, what's the word I want to use? Rate of young women who are going on to college that have been part of your program. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so every girl in our program, once they become a high school senior, they receive a post-secondary coach. And that person, in addition to their mentor, and so that person really is a resource for them where they are meeting with their college, as a college coach, they're meeting with their mentee every other week to talk about what is the best path for them, whether that is college, trade school, or armed forces, but the majority do go into college. We talk about what are the best fit colleges for them. We also help to apply for scholarships. We go on college tours as well as college fairs and scholarship fairs across the city. And so in concert with all of those resources provided, that college coach helps to, once the girl graduates from high school, that college coach then continues with the enrollment process. And so that's why we believe that we have such a high percentage of over 90% of our girls are not only graduating from high school, but then enrolling into college as well because of the resources and opportunities that we're providing.
That's so important. And when you talk about that mentee and that person that helps with that process, it's an awesome process, and it can be intimidating in terms of the college window. So to have someone there to help you, or help a young woman in this case, get through that has got to make them feel better. And it's got to probably be cool for the mentee as well to be able to see the smile on the face of that young woman that's gonna realize, you know what, I'm going to attend college. I'm going to attend a further education system. So it's got to be kind of a good back and forth for both parties.
It is. And you know what? I'm a college coach as well, and a post-secondary coach as well. And my mentee in Ladies of Virtue is going off into college. She's selected her top 10 schools. And every time she gets a college acceptance, she calls me and says, hey, I just got another letter in the mail. And you know what? I smile because I remember those days, right, where you're waiting by the door to see if you get accepted into your top school. And so it's nice. It's so fun to be able to walk life on life with our girls and be on the other end of that phone call when I'm one of the first people she calls, when she gets that acceptance letter. So it does warm your heart. It puts a smile on your face, and it truly has made my week because I got about 3 calls this week.
No kidding. Wow. That's awesome. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I am talking with Jamila Trimuel, who is the founder and CEO of Ladies of Virtue, a true South Side of Chicago person. And we know Southsiders, we do it a little bit differently. And I've had the pleasure of having Mayor Johnson on the show over the last few months, and one of the things that he talked about most recently is we're just built differently here in Chicago. So I'm going to ask you a little bit of a political question, but it's more about your observation about leadership right now on a national level. My opinion, I want to get yours, is there's a lack of leadership on a federal level. But our local folks, our mayor, our county folks, our governor are doing their best, in my observation, to step up and step in the void to kind of hold off the craziness that's coming out of Washington, D.C. What are your observations there, as best you can say, given your observation?
Yeah, no, here in Illinois, I do have to say we have an incredible governor and lieutenant governor with Governor Pritzker, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, our mayor, Brandon Johnson. They have truly been speaking up for the voice of the people with everything that has been going on. I'm sure you've seen the headlines with ICE being here and all of that. And so I believe that, especially recently, where you're seeing them fight and stand up for the people of Chicago, that has what's given me hope as well. They're not backing down, which is truly representative of Chicago. We will look you in your face and speak our mind, and that is what I'm seeing right now with our leadership. So that's one thing that I really appreciate. And they're putting their money where their mouth is, in terms of our Illinois state government grants and city grants. They're still flowing into organizations and things like that. So that's a good thing, too, where we're seeing action behind those words. So, and that's what a leader is all about. A leader speaks up for the people that they represent, and they execute, and so that the people see the actions, not just words.
Yeah, and I'm really pleased that they have been, they've not backed down at all, and more than not backing down, what they've done is they've sort of set an example of how you lead during crisis, how you make certain that people know that you're not to be pushed around, and I think that the part for me that's been inspiring is how do you want to? They're trying to pull more people into acting and being that way, if that makes any sense. They're trying to galvanize more folk, and the governor's accountability commission or initiative that he's put together about photographing and telling the stories and documenting what ICE is doing. I think that's an incredibly smart thing to do right now, because it's pulling in so many other entities of the city and the county and the state to say no. We're going to document this. We're going to make a record of it. We may not be able to stop it completely right now, but there's going to come a day where, those chickens are going to come home to roost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm right with you.
It's been great having you with us this morning. I could talk to you forever. I just love your energy. I love what you're doing for specifically young black girls in Chicago. No apologies at all in that space, because we want to make sure that all of our young ladies in America, but certainly young black girls, are given every single opportunity that can be provided for them. And in that space, be able to do it so that they can see that their futures are going to be bright and their futures are going to be exciting and successful. What are some final words that you have for our listeners as it relates to the organization, as it relates to the upcoming event, and then let people know how they can find you and potentially get involved with the organization?
Yes. First thing I want is, we were talking about some of the political things that are going on. 300,000 black women have been laid off. And so a lot of times people just see the headlines, but how that affects organizations like Ladies of Virtue is that oftentimes these black women are in roles and in positions that there are primary contacts in the corporations. There are primary contacts in those positions where funding and opportunities exist. And so that's why I really want you to support Ladies of Virtue. This is a critical time where we're raising money to support our girls, where most of our girls are joining our program free of charge. If they do pay a registration fee, it is $40 for the entire year. We pay, on average, $2,400 per girl. So that's why our annual fundraiser is critical for us. It is very important for us to meet our goal of $300,000 this year. So support us, support Ladies of Virtue by going to lovchicago.org. Click that donate sign so that you can support our annual events. Also, we're looking, if you're local to Chicago, we're looking for mentors, we're looking for volunteers and for people to help us elevate Ladies of Virtue for the future. So, our website is lovchicago.org.
So what I'd like to do is have you back on the show maybe in early December to talk about the success of the fundraiser, and then let's talk about plans for 2026. And however I can with my show amplify Ladies of Virtue, I want to be able to do it. I say this oftentimes. I'm a product of two great parents. but I'm a product of great leadership from both men and women. And I was blessed to be able to have strong women in my life all these years. And I've always said this: stronger men become stronger men because they've got strong women in their lives. And so I've been blessed to have that. So whatever we can do and I can do through my show to continue to amplify the voices of Ladies of Virtue, I'd love to be part of that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, and I will take you up on your offer and come back in December. That'd be great. Thank you.
Sounds great. Jamila, thanks for being with us this morning. We will talk with you soon. Have a great and a safe Halloween weekend, okay?
You as well. Have a great one.
All right. Bye-bye now. When she's great, guys, she's just great, and I've been wanting to get her on. I knew this event was coming up, and I wanted to be able to talk about it before time ran out. So they're having their gala, their 14th annual Leading with Virtue cocktail reception at Venue West, and that's going to be on the 6th of November, which is next week. So go to their website to get more details. All right, before we get to the top of the hour, a couple quick things. Today on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be taking your calls and talking to Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, Stacey Davis Gates, Chicago Teachers Union president and new president of the Illinois Federation of Teachers. James Zirin, author and legal analyst and former federal prosecutor in New York's Southern District, and Danielle Perry of the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Live, Local, and Progressive, weekdays 2 to 7 here on WCPT, AM 820, heartlandsignal.com, and tune in. And then tonight on Driving It Home, WCPT's Paul Shavari will be in for Patty Vasquez, and his guest will be Mark Gavert of My Labor Radio from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jen Goldberg, professor, psychologist, and expert in the far-right online extremism, AI, and bad things on the internet, and the author of the MAGA Report on Substack. Reed Showalter, candidate for Congress in the 7th District in Illinois. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 here on WCPT, Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Next week, as you guys know, I'll be doing a week of candidate interviews, which will include conversations with U.S. Senate candidates Robin Kelly, Juliana Stratton, who is our lieutenant governor here in Illinois, Amy McGrath down in Kentucky, Joel Willett, candidate hopefuls Sean Harris and Melissa Bean, Wisconsin candidate for governor Francesca Hong. Busy, guys. Going to have candidates with us next week, so I'm excited and honored to be able to chat with them about their candidacy in their upcoming races. Then Saturday, tomorrow, from 1 to 4, as you know, Edwin Eisendrath will be on with a new show named It's the Democracy, Stupid. His guests are former chair of the Democratic Party, Jamie Harrison, Ohio Capital Journal editor-in-chief and opinion columnist David DeWitt, Sky Perriman, president and CEO of the Democracy Forward, and Tim Dickinson, senior politics writer at Rolling Stone, where he reports on the intersection of extremism and electoral politics. It's Democracy, Stupid. Saturdays 1 to 4, Central WCPT AM 820, heartlandsignal.com, and tune in. So check it out. We're going to, no, not yet. We're not going to go there yet because I don't want to go too early. I want to go too early. I'll put all this pressure on Henry. Let's just take this quick call. We have a quick moment. Al, Franklin Park, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard. I'm walking into the room, and I'm going to speak my power.
That's right, Al. That's right.
And I want to talk about Tuesday's election and how we're not talking about those enough at all, because that is a concrete game changer. And I know that Jessica Cavern of Chopwood Carry Water talks about him pretty well. Politics Girl has talked about him. But the main thing is, this is how we make a difference, and this is how we make a difference right now. And it's just so important. And this is part of the long game, and I'm not hearing enough about it. I'm not.
Well, let me ask you a question, Al. In all fairness to those of us who have been talking about it and have been talking about the elections more broadly, what this is always a question when someone says we're not doing enough of something. My question would be, what would be enough? There's never enough. We have to talk about it all the time. And so what I've been trying to do is talk about this election next week. That's why we have the candidates coming on next week. And more broadly, on a national level, why we can't wait for the midterms. Not just the elections that are taking place next week, but all the elections that are taking place between now and the midterms. We have to be talking about all of it all the time. And granted, we could be running more spots about getting out to vote, but I've been just trying to be an advocate for people being aware that it's not about the midterms. It's about elections that are happening not just next week, Al, but there are going to be other elections that are happening before we get there. So it can't just be talking more about next week's elections. It has to be more about we have to be participating in the process all the time. Because one of the things that happens is we get election driven and we get, hyper focused on just the elections and the big ones and the big dates that we have historically been a part of, rather than let's be talking about activity. And you said this many times before when we've talked, being involved all the time. So I appreciate you reminding us of that, Al. Absolutely, I do. And
just the fact that everybody here can do something. They can talk to their friends and neighbors and go to these websites and figure out who has elections, because we know that our adversaries are focused on these elections. I've heard it on conservative radio. I've heard it on Salem.
Well, we don't want to rally their names. We don't want to mention those their names.
Yeah, we don't want to mention them, but we have to be aware that they know these elections are coming, and they are looking at the numbers, and we have to just get everybody out and be talking about it, because we're in the bottom of the ninth.
True that. Al, thanks as always. We got to get to the break, top of the hour. Thanks for your call. Thanks for your contribution. We'll talk with you soon. All right, guys, let's take a quick break. It's almost 7 o'clock. Goodness gracious. 773-7639-278. This is Choose Views. You're listening to on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. It's day 31 of the government shutdown, and President Trump is calling on the Senate to scrap the filibuster. The filibuster is a long-standing tactic in the Senate to delay or block votes on legislation by keeping the debate running. Scrapping the filibuster would let Republicans bypass Democrats and reopen the government. Federal food aid is expected to run out on Saturday if the shutdown does not end. The United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk says airstrikes by the U.S. on boats in the Caribbean and in the Pacific violate international human rights law and are unacceptable. Ravina Shamdasani, a spokeswoman for Turk's office, relayed his message at a regular UN briefing.
Over 60 people have reportedly been killed in a continuing series of attacks carried out by U.S. armed forces against boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific since early September, in circumstances that the UN Human Rights Chief says find no justification in international law.
Military leaders have ordered the National Guard to create quick reaction forces trained in civil unrest.
A set of memos circulated this month directs National Guard units in all 50 states and U.S. territories to train a contingent of soldiers to deal with civil disturbances and riots, and to have them ready to deploy with just hours' notice. The specialized course includes the proper use of batons, body shields, stun guns, and pepper spray. The memos specified various numbers for each state's force, often 500 each. In all, they total more than 23,000 troops. In August, President Trump signed an executive order directing the Pentagon to create quick reaction forces that will be available for rapid nationwide deployment, all part of his vision of a muscular role for the military in his crackdown on illegal immigration and crime in U.S. cities. Ben Thomas, Washington.
This is AP News. King Charles III is banishing Andrew to protect the House of Windsor's foundations.
King Charles III has stripped his brother Andrew of his princely title and home amid mounting pressure to address his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The decision aims to protect the monarchy from public disapproval. Andrew, now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, will move from the Royal Lodge to a more remote home on the King's Sandringham estate. Meanwhile, the family of Virginia Roberts Giuffre has praised the British King's decisions, declaring victory on behalf of Andrew's accuser, who died by suicide in April at the age of 41. Julian Payne, a former communications secretary to the King and Queen, says as the scandal around Andrew grew and grew, the royal family had decided that a tipping point had been reached. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see mostly sunny skies here for today with a high into the mid-50s. Winds out of the northwest around 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. And then for tonight, a slight chance for rain, cloudy, a low near 38. By Saturday, a chance for rain showers, cloudy, high 50 degrees. And Sunday, mostly sunny skies, we'll see a high around 53. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 43. Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Call InventHelp today. We have representatives nationwide who will explain the InventHelp process step by step. Over 10,000 patents have been secured through InventHelp's patent referral services. The InventHelp databank includes thousands of companies who have agreed to review new ideas. We've been helping inventors since 1984. Let's help you next. Get started today.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380. Again, 1-800-217-4380.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Because facts matter.
Welcome back to Chew's Views with Richard Chew.
All right. These mother... Look at this. Look at this. Republican drops out of the race because of trans porn history. Now listen, you should get to watch as much trans porn as you want, but not if you're making laws and villainizing the trans community. Not if you're making laws that hurts them. You don't get to do that. So I think at this point, if you're running for public office, we should get to see your search history on your computer and your phone. Otherwise, you don't get to, because you don't get to make laws that hurt the LGBTQ community and then enjoy us in your free time. You don't get to do that. Every time, Republican, these guys. I'm so sick of this bull.
She hails from Albuquerque, New Mexico, by way of many clubs across America, comedy clubs specifically, combining her gift of humor, humanitarian efforts. She has raised over $70 million for nonprofits around the country in the fight for LGBTQIA+ rights, women's health, and HIV, AIDS, education, and prevention, just to name a few. Social media was recently named her as Curve Magazine's Power List and GQ Magazine's 100 Women We Love. She is the co-host of top-rated news podcast, The Daily Beans. Let's give it up for Dana Goldberg. Good morning, Dana.
Good morning. Good morning, my sweet friend. Wow, I didn't know you were going to play a clip. Have you ever walked in somewhere and heard your own voice and you were like, where is that coming from?
That was the goal.
It was fantastic. Oh, it's nice to see you. I get to see Richard. You get to hear Richard. Either way, it is a joy to your eyes and your ears, but it's good to be back. How is my Chicago friend doing?
I'm doing great. We are, as I say at the beginning of every show, progressives, it's chins up and shoulders back. It's time to fight.
Absolutely.
And that's where we are right now. We don't have any choice in the matter. I guess we do if we give a damn, but the choice is to fight. So I'm doing great. Just as I say to so many people, every single day we've got to find a way to push back in this space.
Absolutely.
It can be challenging, but one of the things that you do that help in that process is provide so much great humor for people. And when I saw that clip, I thought, oh, hell yeah, I've got to play that. I'm not going to let you know I was going to play it. No,
I know. I've been building my social media. So if you're listening on the radio and you want to, the social media has been flooded with such garbage, but I try and put up videos to bring some humor to this lunacy and the horrible, horrible timeline we are living in through the dumbest fascist regime I've ever could have considered. So I try and bring. I knew fashion was coming. I just didn't know it was going to be this dumb, Richard. My God.
Dana, when was the last time you, me, and 8 other people decided to go to an event and have the host have to walk us the right direction rather than meandering around in front of the other political leaders like the menace in the White House did in Japan? How
embarrassing. Just do and walking and that dance. Listen, I am as gay as they come, but that looks like something I have never done and will never do. Listen, I don't understand. And people dance all kinds of different ways. Sure, but you are a billionaire. Go take a lesson.
Yeah.
Go take a ballroom lesson, for God's sake.
Well, he doesn't. This is the thing. I said this on Monday, I believe it was. I said, okay, so you can tell the people that it's one of two things. Either the people around him don't give a damn about him, or they try to inform him and he doesn't give a damn. Either way, the net result was hugely embarrassing for the country. And what I mean by the people around him, you would think that they would say, now listen, the last time you were in front of foreign military dignitaries, you saluted, and you don't do that. So you don't salute their people. And maybe, Mr. President, this is kind of what the decorum is, and so it's sort of either they don't give a damn or he doesn't or both, but the net result was what we saw.
I think it's both, Richard, to be honest with you. And I also think that he's the useful idiot. So I see him as this wants to be a comedian. I'm a comedian professionally. I go tell jokes, people pay me, usually it goes well. I think this guy is an armchair comic. And basically, he tells these jokes. They're racist, they're transphobic, they're homophobic, and all of his buddies laugh. And they think, oh, my God, you're brilliant. That's so funny. You should take that on the road. And they embolden him. And they bump up his ego. And they tell him he's amazing. And so this guy thinks that he's going to go to a professional comedy club, i.e. the world stage, and tell those same racist, transphobic, homophobic jokes, and he's going to get the same response. And it doesn't work. They are setting him up every single time. And if you're watching his Truth Social, they have turned off his spell check a long time ago, because otherwise they wouldn't be letting him send those things out. I mean, he can't even spell everyday words. It's embarrassing.
You've done a great job of highlighting that in terms of not just him, but MAGA in general, and how on social media they need to go back. I mean, you've got a bachelor's degree in physical education, but you definitely paid attention during English.
Well, I'm a lesbian. It's the law. I had to get a degree in physical education.
Wait, I thought the law was you had to get the master's degree in physical education if you're a lesbian. That's what I heard.
Oh, no, master's in linguistics.
Okay, got it. There we go. You love how I teed that up for you, right?
I appreciate it. You hit a softball and pitch it, I'm going to hit it out.
Well, there you go. But that's the point. I mean, the MAGA crowd presents itself, and I have to be careful on how I say this because this is live radio. They present themselves as not being particularly informed, even when it comes to spelling and tense. And I've seen things that you've posted where you said, and in some of your routines, you've talked about how there's a difference of the word there, for example.
Well, I don't have an issue with. Listen, I can misspell words like the best of them, but the joke is around them having a hard time with pronouns. Oh, I can't use they them for a singular person. You've been using they them for a singular person your entire life. You just haven't noticed. Like, how many times have we walked in somewhere and there's a phone on the table, and you're like, oh shoot, someone left their phone on the table. Someone left their phone on the table. None of us are like, oh dear, someone left his or her phone on the table. And it's usually the other side that is like, oh, pronouns, I no pronouns. And that's when I'm like, you don't know the difference between there, and there. And you got a problem with someone just wanting to identify with the way they actually feel inside. Those are my arguments, and those are the jokes around it, because it's so hypocritical. So, yeah, if you're going to come for the communities that I support and love, I'm going to come for you.
One of the things that you've talked about a lot is we are in this fight all together. And everybody that I have on my show, I always come back to the fact that we have to work together as community. We're going to, and we should, to strengthen ourselves, disagree on certain parts of certain things. At the end of the day, our ultimate goal should be for all of us to move forward. And you've been, very observant of the fact that, you can't just be for one community. You can, but at the end of the day, there's so many communities that are being attacked right now. Let's talk a little bit about how you view that in terms of just, solely fighting for one group rather than, other groups that are equally being oppressed right now.
Well, I really truly believe if you're only fighting for people who are just like you, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. It is important right now. They're trying to fracture us. They're trying to fracture us between minorities, whether it's the black community, women, the trans community, the gay community. If I can pit them up against each other and create a cultural war internally, they're not going to pay attention to the class war externally. And that's what they're trying to do. And unfortunately, they've done a really good job of messaging, of scaring people, of fear mongering. And a lot of that language has come from places like the UK that has come over. There's what they call a TERF movement, trans-exclusive radical feminists. It's a lot of women and lesbians who don't support trans women. And that language came over to here, and then they infiltrated it into sports and the bathroom bills and things like that. They're very good at that. And they want to separate us. They want to make sure that we are having an internal circular firing squad, because then we're not paying attention to the fact that they're robbing us blind. So that would be my hope, is just to implore people, look outside yourself and look at the people around you who are hurting, that aren't like you, and see what you can do. You were talking about that. There's different ways that people can help. I happen to have a gift of money raising and advocacy work in addition to my comedy. So that's what I do. I raise millions of dollars for nonprofits around the country that I believe in. But some of you are really damn good at writing postcards, or some of you are good at social media. Some of you are good at knocking on doors and telling stories and making sure that people see the humanity in each other, because if you can see the humanity in your neighbor, it is much harder to vote against them. It's much harder to take away my marriages. It's much harder to take away their health care and their SNAP benefits. So those are the things you have to do. Remember, there's more of us than there are of them. And if we can continue to stay a cohesive unit and a cohesive bloc, we can topple this fascist government. We can do it. We need 3% of the population. That's 11 million people. The No Kings marches, the No Kings protests, we're already at 7+. We are moving there. We are getting there. So let's keep fighting.
My wife, Ann, talked about that when we were at the rally, the protest a couple of weeks ago. She said, the number, we get a little bit higher. We've hit that Mendoza line. And she's absolutely, you and her are both, you and she are both absolutely correct. There are more of us. And we just have to keep reminding everybody that there are more of us. And not only are there more of us, the impact of us is stronger, and we've seen it time and time again. We get stuff done. We made change with Jimmy Kimmel, the protest that took place there. I mean, we were getting after their money. That was they didn't do that out of altruism.
It all goes back to the money. Absolutely.
Yeah, we got after that money, and they're like, yeah, well, we need to get him back on the air. But if it happens, it happens.
That is how you're going to topple this regime, and then we can go on to some more fun things. But I wish we did live in a place where everyone could do this. If we took 1 week and 11 million people stopped participating in this society. They didn't go to work. They didn't buy groceries. They didn't buy anything off Amazon or Target or anything else. I mean, stopped everything. You hunkered down in your apartment, in your house, or wherever you are, and hopefully you have a roof over your head, because not everybody does. And for a week, we shut down this place. 11 million people could topple this government.
I know. It's absolutely correct. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking with activist comedian Dana Goldberg. So let's talk about somebody that I'm sure you got some comments about. Riley Gaines.
Oh, boy. I tell you what, the biggest, sickest burn I have seen in a very long time is AOC coming at her and saying, if you had funneled all of that anger you feel toward this progressive party into swimming, you probably wouldn't have come in 5th place. It was 5th place. It was 5th place against another swimmer. Riley Gaines used her bigotry to become famous with Fox News and the right. She has been used as a tool. Her lawsuit has failed time and time again in different parts of it. She's a hateful young woman. And it is really unfortunate because it was Riley Gaines that made a lot of this anti-trans in athletics a national issue when it wasn't. The percentage of NCAA athletes is less than a 0.01%. There's less than 10. And this somehow became a national fear-mongering campaign, and a lot of it because of Riley Gaines. So I hope that her 15 minutes of fame ends soon. I hope that she loses more in her lawsuit. There's parts of it that are falling apart. But, yeah, she seems to be a very miserable young lady.
Yeah, unfortunately. I knew you were going to take the baton on that one with regard to AOC, because she did.
Oh.
She knocked it out of the park. She was Mrs. October, a.k.a. Reggie Jackson, in terms of how she just put that one in the stands. Let's talk about one of your other favorite people, Mike Johnson. I'm not going to call him speaker, and wanting to blame the Democrats for not swearing in Ms. Grijalva. I mean, let's talk about that for a couple minutes.
The gaslighting. My definition, my description of Johnson is he's smarmy. I don't know if that word means, like, if you're listening, it's like, he's just smarmy. He's like, I'm going to cover my drink around him in a bar, even though I don't think I'm the person he's going to roofie.
Dana,
Yeah.
even as a dude, when I look at him, I'm thinking like, nah, if I were in an event with him, I would be drinking bottled water, and I'd have hand sanitizer in my pocket if I had to shake his hand. Exactly.
You play that clip at the beginning of my segment. If someone's making laws against the LGBTQ community, I want to see research history.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson search history, I think, would be pretty colorful. I mean, if your son has to monitor your porn usage and, I don't know, give you a shot collar every time you go on there and log on, there's something going on. You've got a chastity marriage with your daughter. I know there are traditions in different religions, but you can't call yourself a Christian and then do every single thing that is unchristian. Like, you are a fake Christian. You're not the Speaker of the House. I mean, Trump, who I despise even more than Johnson, is basically like, yeah, he's just a tool. I'm the president. I'm the Speaker of the House. This guy, why would you let someone do this to you? And it's horrible. And he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. I'll swear her in any time she wants. Then do it. Do it. And then the whole, why doesn't she just get working? Go get working. She can't do anything until you swear her in. Any vote she actually takes in Arizona, anywhere else, does not count until she is official congresswoman, and they know that. They know that.
Well, and that goes back to this whole lack of, I'm not even going to say education because I don't want to overly offend anybody, but lack of people being plugged into how we work as a society, how we work as a country, to understand. I mean, that's civics. It's kind of civics 103, maybe not 101, but it's a basic part that so many people just don't know. They're like, oh, right, she could be in there doing all kinds of things. What, is she lazy? How come she's not working right now? And then it goes down these crazy paths of how, they want to make her the bad person. And Jana, we all can hate on Trump and hate on the named people of this regime. I blame the GOP at large, across the board, top down. And I'm going to pivot a little bit to some local things. Mayor Brandon Johnson, Governor J.B. Pritzker have been holding it down. So you're going to be coming to Chicago. We're going to talk about that for this next part of the segment. But talk about your observation of Mayor Johnson and Governor Pritzker?
Well, I think they're holding the line and they're fighting back. You know, one of the things that the Democrats have not been great at is they don't fight in a way that is powerful. They want to, keep the line, keep decor. This is not how you deal with this sort of a regime and this sort of a government. You know, Pritzker, he's not loud. That's the thing, and he's not ranty. Pritzker is a strong. I've met him. I respect him. He's a billionaire, in my opinion, whose heart is in the right place.
Yep.
And he speaks up and he speaks out, and he's very clear and he's very calm. And all of those people that have been doing this, like you said, the mayor
Johnson,
Mayor Johnson, they're not going to be pushed around.
No.
You're not going to lie about what's happening in our city and our state so that you can gain political points and move in the military against civilians that are literally doing no wrong. You've got helicopters that are zip-lining down to a building and zip-tying children in the middle of the night without clothes on and taking them outside. We've got a problem in this country. Yeah. And thank God there's people in Chicago and Illinois that are fighting back against this. This is unconstitutional. It shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't even be happening to people who may or may not have committed a crime. There is due process in this country for a reason. You don't get to, take people and then ask later.
Right.
That's not how this works.
Yeah. Dignity and humanity is something that has to be extended to all people on this land, and it's not. And I'm very particularly proud of our mayor and of our governor and many other state leaders, our Attorney General Kwame Wairuwal. It's setting an example for the rest of the country in many ways. And I love me some other politicians in other parts of the country, but I have to say that those two guys and their administration, their teams, and other elected officials have really been holding it down. You're going to be in Chicago in a couple of weeks. You got some stuff going on, and we got to talk about that as this last part of the segment. Dana Goldberg is going to be here in Chicago as part of what she's labeled the Outrage Us Tour. Guys, got it? The Outrage Us Tour. Dana, talk a little bit about what's happening on the 14th, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's happening on November 12th as well.
You got it. I've been touring all over the country. I'm taking my long comedy set. So we're talking, you got a 75-minute show. I'll probably have a great opener with me. It's at the Annoyance Theater. And if you live in Chicago, you know this is like a historic comedy venue. Second City, the Annoyance Theater. It's where people go to see the good stuff. So I announced a show a couple weeks ago. The 7 p.m. sold out in 2 days. Chicago, you are showing up. And I decided to open a late show. So on November 14th, I'm opening up a 9 p.m. show. We're already a quarter sold, so the tickets are going fast on that. There's only about 75 left. It's a small theater. It's intimate. But we're going to have some community and joy. I'm going to make you laugh in a safe space where, sometimes it feels nice to be in an echo chamber. It feels nice to be in that bubble. You know what I mean? Where you can just let go and laugh at the things that need to be laughed at and find some humor in this insanity. So you can get tickets on my website. It's danagoldberg.com. Just hit my tour. It's a couple buttons down at the Annoyance Theater. The 7 p.m. is sold out, 9 p.m. still available. And then on the 12th, what I'm really excited about, one of the reasons why I was going to be in Chicago in the first place, if you don't know an organization called Gender Cool, get to know them. This is an organization based in Chicago. It's gendercool.org on that one. They're having what they call a soiree on the 12th. And basically this organization empowers young trans and non-binary kids to love themselves, accept themselves, but they also create things like a mentorship program where they help them find work and they help them find their community. They also help the parents that are trying to figure out, how can I support my child in their transition? And when I say these are gender cool youth, I'm talking teenagers up into their early 20s. But one of my favorite things about these kids is they say their gender identity is the least interesting thing about them. They are artists, they are scientists, they're studying to be lawyers, they're athletes. They go speak in front of Congress, they tell their stories, they make partnerships with corporate America, because it is true that diversity really does bring in the dollars, everyone. So I have decided I'm going to go and host their little soiree on the 12th. And if you want to be a part of this community, you can. The tickets are still available at gendercool.org. And you can show up and see the amazing work they're doing. Governor Pritzker has been a massive ally of this organization and the kids that are a part of it for years, and the community there. Illinois in general is a safe haven still for the trans community. And, I don't identify as trans myself. I'm a cis female lesbian, but I have family, my friends, my community. They are part of my community. So if I can help in any way to raise money so that this organization can continue to protect, educate, and inform, that's what they do. And so they're helping people from all over the country figure out how to get gender affirming care. They are helping kids from all over the country find work and mentorship and a community. Because right now, more than ever, the misinformation and the lies about our youth is so loud. You've got to have a safe space so that they feel encouraged and protected. And Gender Cool is doing it. These kids are amazing. They call them the champions, Gender Cool champions. There's usually about 12 of them that talk in front of Congress and that do public speaking and things like that. Chazzy is one of them. That is an incredible woman that I've known for a while, and her mother has done wonderful things for the community. She's been a champion as well herself. So Chicago, if you're in the area, you want to do a good do, you want to do some, good work and don't, support an organization that is paying it forward, or if you just need some laughs, you've got two opportunities. November 12th, this is the Gender Cool Gala, as they would call it. It's more of a cocktail hour, but they're going to do some honoring, and I'm going to do some speaking and raising some money. And then join me at the Annoyance Theater on November 14th. The tickets are going to go fast, though. So if you're listening to this, go to danagoldberg.com, hit my tour page, and they're really reasonable. You want to meet me? You get a VIP. You don't? It's $25 for some great comedy. Like, why would you not go?
Well, listen, guys, and that's not all that Dana's got going on. I'm gonna take all the opportunity because it's my show to do it. You've got another big event out in San Diego on November 22nd, the Legacy Ball. Talk a little bit about that as we get to the end of the show.
Oh, November, the Legacy Ball. Which one is that? My goodness.
Dude, I'm looking at my notes. That's November 22nd in San Diego. Do I have that right?
Oh, yes. The evolution. This new organization is a new one for me.
Busy.
Listen, I tell you what, in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be in 5 different states doing 4 different galas, and my head's going to spin off. But this is a new organization, True Evolution, that I'm working with, and they actually have housing for LGBTQ community out there in Riverside, California. And they are doing great work. They make sure that the healthcare is there, that they advocate as well to hook them up with what they need within their own community. And right now, the federal funding, because of this damn administration, has taken so much away from this community. If I have a way to help, I'm going to help. So that's going to be there November 6th. Let me see if I do my math right. November 6th, I'm hosting an event in New York for Callan Lord that offers healthcare for LGBTQ people. November 8th, I'm going to be down in Houston working with a fashion organization that repurposes all the textiles that are used to make clothing. There's just a lot on my schedule, and then I'm already getting my schedule for next year, several HRC galas around the country. And by the way, if you're listening to this, even though I cannot be there this year and it guts me, there is an HRC gala on November 15th this week. If you can still go support this organization, they also need it more than ever. There's usually great honorees and great speakers. The president, Kelly Robinson, who has just been phenomenal, the first Black queer woman to run this organization. These are all the organizations I work with and I love, but I'm gutted that I can't be at the HRC Gala on Saturday. But if you can, there's still tickets available, so make sure you get them.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. But Dana,
I'm going to nap sometime in December. I'll take a nap sometime in December.
Well, I'll sleep in December. But it's great to have you on the show this morning. It's great to chop it up with you about all things political, social, and everything else. And yeah, guys, get out. Grab those last few tickets for the second show on Friday, November 14th at the Annoyance Theater, 9 p.m. Dana will be there making you laugh and maybe wetting your pants a little bit, all the above.
I sure hope so. If that's done, I've done my job. And listen, if you just want your daily dose of videos and comedy on Instagram, it's DG Comedy. That's where I do a lot of my short clips, like Richard played at the top of the hour. I've got a great parody on Hallelujah talking about Jeffrey Epstein's connection to Donald Trump. You got to bring some joy. You got to bring some levity. So follow me on the socials at DG Comedy.
Absolutely. Dana, thanks for being with us. Travel safely, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right, my friend. I'll see you soon.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, guys, quick break, 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning attorney who drafts living trusts and wills for my clients. You have probably heard my ads here on WCPT for the last few years. Your fellow listeners, when we have completed their plans, say, I wish I had done this sooner. It wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would be. We can complete your estate plan within 30 days or less. There are certainly decisions that need to be made, but my 30-plus years of experience will help guide you through this process. There may never be a perfect time to start, but whenever I'm asked when is the best time, my answer is always the same. Now is the best time, while it is on your mind. Being able to tell your family that you have an estate plan in place, that all the details have been taken care of, will be a great relief to both yourself and those you care for the most. Our initial consultation is without charge, and there is no obligation. My phone number is 847-996-0496, and my website is moretlawoffice.com, spelled M-O-R-E-E. I look forward to speaking with you.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see mostly sunny skies here for today with a high into the mid-50s. Winds out of the northwest around 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. And then for tonight, a slight chance for rain, cloudy, a low near 38. By Saturday, a chance for rain showers, cloudy, high 50 degrees. And Sunday, mostly sunny skies, we'll see a high around 53. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 42.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey, guys, welcome back to the show. Thanks to Dana Goldberg for being with us. Check out her show. You want to get those tickets for that 9 p.m. show on November 14th at the Annoyance Theater. Thanks to Jamila Trimuel for being with us earlier, and Karen Byrne. I said it was a day of leading ladies, and I mean ladies that lead. In each of their spaces, they're doing everything they can to make sure that we move forward and we progress. And with us this morning is another great Chicagoan who has made it clear that in this crazy time, she's going to still fight. Got to rest every now and again and get her heels ready to go. But with us this morning is our good friend, Michelle Duster, American author, public historian, and just a cool lady. Michelle, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard.
It's Halloween, and I was like, I know we can't do it because we got some FCC things, but I thought I should play Thriller as we bring Michelle on today, and as we all know that song is probably going to be the most popular song played on any venue today and the next couple of days with this Halloween weekend. So, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Excellent. So, listen, I there's so many things to talk about, and as I've said this before, and it's such an honor to have Michelle on with us every other week, every other Friday. And Michelle and I have some great conversations offline. And a recent, one of the things that's been really kind of, I don't know, I guess shameful is not the right word, but certainly just annoying as hell. And that's the way in which folks in the media have been treating elected officials, particularly African-American elected officials. So I'm going to just dive deep into the pool on something that you and I were talking about offline so that our listeners can hear this or share in this. And that the way in which, Margaret Brennan went after House Minority Leaders Hakeem Jeffries about what's happening with this shutdown. What was your take on that, and what were your observations when you saw that?
Well, I mean, there have been several incidents that I have seen where, I mean, it's kind of hard to not see the racial and gender dynamic of white women sort of scolding black men who are in positions of power. And I haven't seen that same dynamic when it comes to white men in power. And so it's hard to not take it in sort of a racial way, given the history of our country.
Yeah.
So in that way, it kind of brings up a lot of emotion and sort of historical dynamics when it comes to power.
I was really taken, not taken aback. I made comment about this when it came to the women on the I've Had It podcast. Jennifer Welch, I think is her name. And, kind of a similar thing in going after Senator Cory Booker. It was with a tremendous amount of vitriol, but I don't see that, to your point, going toward really and truly. I mean, listen, we want to criticize the leaders that we have, but do it in a way, as I say all the time, to help move them forward and move their agenda forward as best possible and have them do as good of a job as possible and be improving. We know that. But what I don't see on a regular basis is those same voices, those podcasters, those news folks going after even Democrats who are not African American. And we certainly, sure as hell, don't see it being launched toward the people who are actually causing the problems, and those are the ones that are on the political right. And so it's interesting to see that that dynamic right now, and it is part, to your point, and you know this as well as anybody, it is part of the historical dynamic of how black men in leadership roles can oftentimes get treated by media and other entities when they're trying to do something good for the community.
Right. Well, like I said, I think it's not even only about politics. It's just about a power dynamic. So we just see it in the political arena because that's a higher profile situation. But I'm sure these type of dynamics happen in the business world, in the medical world, in education, in all kinds of professions where a black man who is in a position of leadership or power will be challenged or spoken to in a way that is disparaging in a different way than somebody else. So there's this idea of privilege that we can talk to somebody any old way and not respect their actual leadership role.
Yeah, and that's the part that's the respecting the leadership role and by comparison, showing a tremendous amount of genuflect or deference to others that are in leadership roles that are doing far worse to harm the community, harm the society at large, and in this case, harming the country. I'd love to see, Margaret Brennan or Jennifer Welch have on a Republican, a white male Republican, and talk to them that same way. I don't think it's going to happen. And it's not for fear of not having them back on the show. It's really it's not even about the fear. It's about the obvious, and that's the optics of, I have to respect this white guy, but I don't have to respect this black man. And it's clear. And and to me, I saw that, and you sent me a great clip, and then we shared some, but I just wanted to kind of launch into that right out of the gate. I think you knew I was going to go there. So, Michelle, you've been writing a lot. Have you? And I know that I should know the answer to this, but I'll ask you: how are things going with your articles and such with Rebellious magazine? And by the way, guys, if you don't know, you got to check out Michelle's work at Rebellious magazine. It's phenomenal writing. And here's what's so great. One of the things that I always find something. A new great thing about your writing, and then I'll let you answer the question, is that it tests one's, it tests your consciousness. It really does make you stop and think about where we are as a society on issues of history, on issues of gender, on issues of race, historically and current. But what are you working on? If you can tease us with a little bit of what you're working on.
Well, my last article was basically about how white men in this country overall seem to, I mean, white men in power, and specifically insecure white men, because secure people don't do these things. It's people who are insecure who seem to feel that the only way they can win, or it's reasonable for them to, quote, win by stepping on other people, by, you know, by marginalizing, by disqualifying, by, you know, stacking the deck against other people. And so then they can say, oh, I won, when they're standing on somebody else's back or somebody else's neck. And, you know, and I think we're seeing that in hyper reality right now. So I just think it's sad that that our country is dealing with this level of insecurity in the leadership class that is rolling back every kind of opportunity to level the playing field in order for them to, quote, win. But they're winning at the expense of eliminating the competition versus them stepping up and actually being more qualified or more accomplished. They're not. It's a false win.
I played a clip at the beginning of the show today of President Obama on All the Smoke podcast. And it speaks exactly to what you're just talking about. The word that I use a lot, and you've heard it and you use it yourself, is mediocrity. And he's in the clip, President Obama, was a brief clip, talked about, you know, how they were asking him what's it like to be in some of these meetings and what's it like to be in some of these engagements. And his response is, you know, you go into these things and you talk to people and you see these people and they've got these, you know, built up reputations of being, you know, X, Y, and Z. And you walk in and you realize that they're not all that. And that there's no reason for you to feel like they're better than you or that you should yield to them necessarily. I broadened that in terms of the conversation that we should all be having politically and socially right now, where I want everybody to walk into the room and own the room. But in the specifics of what you're talking about, Michelle, it's clear that we have some mediocre people in office, and they have been of the privileged, quote unquote, class for such a long time that they know that with all this diversity and all this energy and all these people who are talented, who have worked hard to get their extra degrees and all the other certifications and recognitions, that they really can't compete if the playing field is level. And so the only way to kind of win or to prolong this white privilege in America is to eliminate people, is to take people off the playing field, narrow the field down to where it's people that are homogeneous and all the rest, so that then your mediocrity doesn't get further exposed. What are your thoughts about that?
I feel very strongly about that. I mean, I've been around a little while.
Not as long as me.
Well, longer than some. And I've been in a lot of different spaces where people consider themselves to be, you know, leaders in quote important spaces. And I've seen up close and personal the level of mediocrity, but at the same time, this sort of attitude that they're the only ones that belong. And so anybody who has any level of training or knowledge in certain areas and then interacts with somebody who got into the same space because somebody made a few phone calls or, you know, made some kind of deals with their friends or that kind of thing. And so you walk into these spaces and you're like, okay, I earned this position, and this person was handed the position, and they don't know what they're doing. And so I've seen that. I've seen it up close and personal. And so what I see happening now, you know, with all of this dismantling of different programs and opportunities that do make it possible for people who actually are qualified but don't have somebody who can just make a few phone calls to make a space for them, those opportunities or those pathways are being eliminated. So that means that only the people, the people who still have that privilege of sort of backdoor entry are the only ones who have the real opportunity. And we can see great examples of this on multiple levels. Let's just break it down. A lot of the people who are in cabinet positions in this administration, I think, are guilty of that kind of entrance.
Without a doubt. We're talking with Michelle Duster. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. And yes, we are talking to Michelle Duster, author, educator, public historian, and like I said before, just a great, great human being that makes you get into your consciousness about where we are in this country and women's voices, untold stories, all the things that Michelle's been able to do. And I want to come back to something that you just said a moment ago about, as we both are talking about, the sort of folks who are in positions on all levels, many levels of power and influence, and not necessarily because they're qualified. And it's sort of my reverse the mirror on many people that want to say that black women, black men, other people of color, if you will, are in their positions because of DEI, et cetera, et cetera. We know that conversation. But right now, literally what's happening right now with one of the biggest companies in America, and I predicted that this would happen, is the Paramount Skydance deal. Okay, we know that took place recently. We know all the shifting that's taken place with companies and the mergers that are happening and more to come. But David Ellison, who is the son of Larry Ellison, is the CEO of the Paramount Group now. They're laying off 2,000 people from Paramount. Why? Well, they're doing it to be able to pay for this deal. At the end of the day, I know how mergers and acquisitions work because of my financial background. But they're doing that at the cost of many people who've been at this company. They've dedicated their lives to this company. And now they're going to be gone. And this Nepo baby, David Ellison, is not qualified to be in this role. Okay? But he's there because his father, through a deal that they cut ultimately through the Trump administration, that's how this really got done, is now cutting the jobs of 2,000 people, which will have a domino effect on the not only their income and livelihoods, but those of the communities that they live in. And that's what a lot of these folks that are not qualified, they don't get it or they get it and they don't give a damn. What are your thoughts about that?
I think in general, we are dealing with a social environment where I think there's a high level of really not caring about other people. I feel like, I don't know, it's just this level of extreme level of greed and power grab, and it's almost like a contest between, sort of the power structure to see who can get the most, and they don't care who's collateral damage in the process. So I don't think that they even consider how other people are affected at all. It's all about how much can they gain and compete against the other power structure person. And everybody else is just, like I said, collateral damage. I just don't think they care.
Yeah, and we can see that in terms of the, I guess you could say, just sort of roughshod, reckless way that it's done, because obviously if they don't care, then they're not going to do it in a way that, if it's necessary, they're not going to do it in a way that's prudent and that's effective. So. And you and I are old enough chronologically to remember in the 80s, all these mergers and acquisitions that took place where companies were just, leaders of companies were just recklessly, buying up companies and selling off, quote unquote, parts and divisions of companies and firing people all for one goal, and that's to, send money to the top, the top offices, to the C-suites. And it's happening again now. The difference, I think, this time is that it's being supported in many ways by this administration that's doing kind of their own version of it in terms of canceling or executive ordering divisions or departments of the federal government be terminated. Was it 300,000 black women that have lost their jobs this year and over 1 million Americans that have lost their jobs? How is that going to make the country great again? It's... go ahead, I'm sorry.
Personally, I just have a theory that, the ultimate idea is to privatize everything. And so I think they're trying to cripple the government so that it really doesn't work, so that their billionaire friends can swoop in and get these contracts, and everything will become privatized.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And one of the things that some people are paying attention to with that, but the distraction of all the things that are happening is in some ways it's forcing people to not even be aware of that. But I agree that that's the goal. And look at what's happening with much of the farm community, where a lot of these farms are being, they have been and will be further decimated to the point where there's land. I read a report where J.D. Vance is part of an investment group that's investing in farm reclaiming. So yeah, excellent point, Michelle. Today, by design, because I knew you were going to be on, I wanted to make sure this was a day as best I could make it about leadership, women leaders particularly. Obviously, Karen was on earlier in the show, and then we had Jamila Trimuel from Ladies of Virtue on talking about leadership. Dana Goldberg, a great comedian and activist, and you yourself. So I want to ask you this question as we wrap up. What is it? What do you define as leadership, and what have been some of the most who have been some of the most impactful people in your life when it comes to leadership? Share that with us, Michelle.
Wow. I guess my definition of leadership is to have some kind of principle that you stand on, and to work in ways that are in alignment with that particular way of thinking. So I think a lot of people think leadership is being some kind of public figure that has, a huge amount of responsibility and you impact a lot of people. But I think you can be a leader in your family. You can be a leader on your block. So I just think the qualities of a leader is just somebody who's very clear and very consistent on who they are and what they believe, and work in ways that are in alignment with that with people that they have some kind of contact with. So those who, I know a lot of people always anticipate and expect me to say that my great-grandmother, Ida B. Wells, is an example of a leader. Obviously, that's true. But I never met her. So those who I did meet and interact with that did have an influence on me, I think my mom, Maxine Duster, had a huge influence on me. She was a leader in her own way as an educator and a sort of community leader. And, both of my parents and a lot of other people that I've come in contact with, some supervisors that I've had in the past, some friends, other family members. I'm fortunate because I come from a family that has a lot of really high integrity people. And I realize that's not necessarily everybody's experience. So I feel very fortunate to have a lot of really good role models.
Fantastic. Well, Michelle, you have been one of those folks. You've definitely carried the baton forward in being a role model. And I love the way you put it in terms of, it's right there at you as an individual and the steps that you take every day. We as individuals, I should say, and the steps that we take are where we can show our leadership right now, real time. And you've been exemplary in that space, and your work, your writing has been phenomenal. So I greatly appreciate you taking some time out of your Fridays every other week to hang out with me and chat about all that's going on and our observations of it. So thank you, Michelle, for being a part of what we're doing here. How can folks find you, Michelle?
Well, they can find me. You could just actually Google my name, and I come up everywhere. Michelle,
Look at her.
Michelle,
You see that, Henry? I come up everywhere.
I do. It's crazy. Yeah, Michelle with 2 L's. But my website is MLD Writes, WRITES, and on social media at my name, at Michelle Duster.
Fantastic.
And happy Halloween and safe for everybody.
Yeah, no kidding. Be safe, y'all, this weekend. Take it, get out and enjoy it. But we're starting, as I say, Michelle, the holiday season right now for the next 70-plus days. We're going to be in that mode. So everybody be safe. We'll talk to you again in 2 weeks. Does that sound cool?
Sounds good.
All right, Michelle. Be well. Thanks for being with us today.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye. Hey, Henry, I said we would try to do this at the end of the show. Can we play the clip from the beginning of the show one more time?
Yeah.
All right, let's hit him with that.
Because I promise you, once you sit at these tables, at these fancy places, with folks with fancy titles, and they got a big bank account, and you talk to them, and you go, oh, yeah, they ain't all that. Yeah. Right? Yes, sir. This idea that somehow they are so special, they're so smart, they're so sophisticated, not really. They've been exposed. They've been given the confidence of feeling like they belong. But if you sit down and talk to them, turns out they just folk.
Yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys one more time before we wrap up today, because we are in a moment where we all, as to Michelle's point, certainly, we all need to be leaders in this moment, and we all need to take it seriously and recognize our ability to be a voice, to be powerful, like Michelle, like Dana, like Jamila, like Karen, and be willing to fight for it. I mean, I think that's critically important right now, is how willing are you to fight for what it is that we say we believe in? And don't be intimidated by these people, to President Obama's point, that ain't all that. That they, just because they've been exposed doesn't mean that they're all that. So guys, have a great weekend. Everybody stay safe. Take a deep breath and make your life count. We'll see you next week.
Fall is here and colder nights are on the way. Is your home ready to stay warm and energy efficient? Green Attic is Chicagoland's trusted expert in attic insulation, spray foam, crawl space encapsulation, and mold remediation, solutions that seal in comfort and cut down on high heating bills. If your upstairs feels drafty or your heating system is constantly running, your attic may be to blame. Their team helps balance temperatures and reduce energy waste from the top down. They also offer full-service roofing through Green Attic Roofing, covering asphalt shingles, flat roofs, premium roofing solutions, and solar panels. Every project comes with a 10-year labor warranty and instant online estimates to help homeowners replace aging roofs before winter sets in. With over 15 years of experience and over 1,000 five-star reviews, Green Attic delivers real comfort season after season. Visit greenattic.com for a free installation consultation or go to greenatticroofing.com for an instant roofing